So Harlem rapper A$AP Ferg has dropped his second album titled Always Strive and Prosper. This is a follow-up from his largely successful first album, which was released in 2013, titled Trap Lord. So this is actually quite a lengthy album. There are about 18 tracks on this album, and there's a Best Buy edition, I think, which has 20 tracks. Always Strive and Prosper, it's a really interesting album. It does really feel like a cohesive story from start to finish. A$AP Ferg is talking about, I'm guessing, always continuing to persevere regardless of whatever situation you find yourself in. He's relating a story and giving a message, but it doesn't come off as sounding preachy. And on the first track, he's talking about transitioning from being a trap lord to the hood pope and giving hope to the people who are still in the hood. And I quite admire that message. So let's talk about the song. So as I stated, there's 18 tracks on this album. The first few tracks really talk about A$AP's beginnings, A$AP's lives, working at an ice cream shop and getting fired. He talks about his uncle named Psycho, talks about how his uncle influenced him and how he used to look up to him. He's also references his grandma a number of times. There's even a track titled Grandma. And really, this album, I was surprised by the kind of messaging, the kind of storytelling that was on this album. I never expected A$AP Ferg to be this good a storyteller. It was interesting, it was at times funny, and it really didn't feel boring. It didn't feel like he was lecturing you. It felt like, yeah, he was telling you a story. It felt like it was coming from a genuine place, and it was relatable at times. On this album, there's a lot of reflection. I do feel like the passing of A$AP Yams has a lot to do with this. A$AP Yams being the one who really brought together all the members of A$AP Mob and really gave these people a vision, a collective vision, and he really tied all of them together. So on A$AP Rocky's album, you feel a lot of reflection, you feel a lot of thinking about what he's done, and I get the same feeling on A$AP Ferg's album. It's very reflective, very descriptive. You get a very good image of what A$AP Ferg went through in his life, and I do feel like the passing of A$AP Yams had a big part to play in this. I would have liked to see more collaborations between A$AP Ferg and A$AP Rocky. So songs I really did like, Let It Bang with Schoolboy Q was phenomenal. The beat was insane. They really have a good chemistry. They sound quite similar in the way they rap, but while we're talking on rap styles, A$AP Ferg is someone who is very versatile. He's someone whose voice sort of has a synchronization with the beats, and it really is interesting to listen to. It makes you want to bob your head, and the production on this is phenomenal. You have lots of trap, heavy bass in this album, and you also have more melodic songs. Like on Strive, you have a lot of nice piano instrumentals. On the song with Chris Brown called I Love You, it's a nice aesthetic, very airy, very smooth, this kind of, tropical feel it has to it. On the first song, Rebirth, he's talking about how he's rich now, but he's still struggling in his own ways. I feel like a lot of celebrities feel this. A$AP Ferg talks about wishing his grandmother and his father were still alive to see what he's become now. He has some funny stories about how his auntie would call up his mum and say that he's left his job, again referring to his ice cream job. I do feel very genuine emotion on this album. The instrumentals, the beats are solid. It's very cohesive, great storytelling. Now, I do have a few drawbacks with this album. I do feel like some of the songs, like on Strive, I do feel like he could have gotten a better singer instead of trying to sing the songs himself. Granted, he is very versatile, he can change his voice up, but there would have been a lot more emotion if someone like, for example, Joe Fox, who worked with A$AP Rocky on his last album, had sang the chorus of that. Because, not to refer too much to A$AP Rocky, but what he did very well on Allah was that he was able to get someone, a very soulful singer, who was able to relay that emotion. You felt it when you listened to that music. You felt the emotion in his voice. Whereas on this, it didn't really work at times. Sometimes it was great, you know, sometimes he could really deliver the chorus very well, and other times it was a bit wonky. Songs that I didn't quite like. Well, let me put it this way. The album starts off very strong. It kind of falls apart in the middle. Some of the middle songs a bit meh, like Swipe Life with Rick Ross. I don't feel Rick Ross added anything to this album. I didn't really like that song. Uzi Gang was a bit too repetitive, and then it finishes on a decent note, talking about his grandma, you know, and the relationship he had with her and wishing she was still alive. I really did enjoy this album. I do recommend it to anybody who's a fan of rap music, who's a fan of artists actually talking about their stories, talking about themselves, not necessarily just talking about, you know, cliche things in hip hop. If you like trap music and don't want to have to read the lyrics and just want to listen to the song and understand what the person is saying, I would recommend this album to you. ASAP Ferg fans will like this album. Rap fans will like this album. Great album, just in general. I was really surprised by what ASAP Ferg was able to deliver on this album, and I do hope he continues down this line of storytelling. I didn't follow ASAP Ferg too much, but now after listening to this, I think I'm a fan of ASAP Ferg now. I did really enjoy this album. I recommend you to go and get this album. I'll probably give it a 7 out of 10. The album is quite lengthy. It does fall apart at some parts, but when it does do well, it's a phenomenal album. So 7 over 10. Great production, great lyrics. The features on here are superb. He has Chris Brown. Future does a good job with New Level, which has already been out for a few months, but it's a nice song. Schoolboy Q, great song, Let It Bang. Missy Elliott is on here. Big Sean is on the album. Great album, great production, great lyrics, great features. 7 out of 10. And yeah, I look forward to seeing what ASAP Ferg has down the line. I hope he does continue exploring his storytelling ability. He is a very good storyteller. He is quite funny when you listen to his stories. He's quite funny with his flow, very rhythmic. And yeah, so that's my thoughts on this album. Let me know what you thought about this album. Did you like it? Did you hate it? What did you like? What didn't you like? And if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like. Feel free to comment whatever's on your mind down in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.